to read again? Ask the teacher. So here this highlighted part, to plus base form, first form is what? It is an example of infinitive over here. Here we have first form of the verb, and in between them what we are going to see? Kindly, which is what? It is an adverb, right? We are talking about manner, kindly, right? That is why this is example of what? This is example of split infinitive. Swimming is not only a sport but also a wonderful exercise. So pay attention over here. Swimming, verb in its ing form, but we have to check its function. Right? It is working as a noun, and as I have told you, in order to identify a noun, what we have to do? We have to ask a question with what. Hello dear students, welcome to Align Digital. I hope you are doing great at your places. Now in this particular video, we will discuss about non-finite verb, that is gerund and infinitives, right? So first of all, we are going to discuss about infinitives. So here is the definition. An infinitive is a non-finite verb that is preceded by to. So generally what you are going to see? You are going to see to plus first form of the verb, but it is also possible that you find only first form, right? So here, although an infinitive is also referred to as to verb, yet it can be used with or without to. So we refer it to verb as well, but you can see both changes over there. You may see it with to and you may see it without to at certain situation, right? So here are some examples first of all of infinitives. So do you want to read again? Ask the teacher. So here this highlighted part, to plus base form, first form is what? It is an example of infinitive over here, right? Likewise, we have next example. He decided to take the other road. So here also to plus first form of the verb, it is what? It is your infinitive. Now we divide infinitive in the three categories, and they are known as full infinitives, bare infinitives and split infinitives. Right? So first of all, we are going to discuss about full infinitive, right? An infinitive preceded by to is called full infinitive, right? So this kind of structure you are going to see, to plus first form of the verb, right? Okay, so here are some examples. It is such an amazing house to buy. So here, to and base form of the verb, so it is example of full infinitive, right? Next thing. Do you want to view the sunset? Right? So again, what we are getting here, to plus first form of the verb. So it is example of full infinitive. And same condition is applicable, that since it is a non-finite verb, if you are going to change tense or subject, this verb is going to remain constant. How? If I say, did you want to view the sunset, still I am going to use what? To view, though I am using past tense over here, right? If I say, does he want to view the sunset, here I have changed the subject, still what I am using? I am using to view as well. So no change in that non-finite verb. Right? Now we are going to discuss about bare infinitive. So as the name itself suggests, bare infinitive. So what is going to be missing over there? That to is going to be missing over there, right? So an infinitive without to is called bare infinitive. So in a nutshell, whenever you are going to see only the first form of the verb in certain situation, because you are going to see first form of the verb in simple present tense as well, but there it is not functioning as a bare infinitive, right? So bare infinitive is what? Only first form of the verb in certain situations. So here we are going to discuss about particular situation where you are going to use first form, and that will be considered as bare infinitive, right? So here is the very first condition. We use bare infinitives after modal auxiliaries. So whenever we are using modal auxiliaries, it is followed by first form of the verb and it is known as bare infinitive only. So here are the examples. The rains may start soon. So here I am using a modal may, and just after it I am using first form of the verb, that is what? That is bare infinitive. Right now you must be wondering why I have written rains over here, because generally we say rain only, but when I am saying rains, that means I am referring to monsoon season, right? So in this case I may write rains. Okay, next one. You can take reference from this book. Again, here can is what? A modal auxiliary, and just after it I am using take, that is first form of the verb, is again example of what? It is example of bare infinitive, right? Okay, same thing, since it is a non-finite, if you are going to change here subject or tense, it is going to remain same, right? You could take reference from this book. Now I am using past form, could, but still I am using take only. Or if I say he can take references from this book, here I have changed subject, but still here I am using take only, right? Okay, so here with semi-modals as well, like need and dare, we are going to use which form of the verb? We are going to use first form of the verb only. So here is the example. You dare not touch my sister's belongings, spoke the concerned mother. So dare not, semi-modal, and after that also I am using first form of the verb only. Likewise, next example, you need not read this magazine. So after need not, we are using what? We are using first form of the verb as well. So let me remind you, since I am using them in the negative sentence, they are example of modals, but if we use dare and need in affirmative sentence only, they are going to be main verb, right? So there you may find some changes. Okay, let's proceed further and let's discuss about the second situation where we use bare infinitive, right? So we use bare infinitive verbs such as did, feel, hear, know, let, make, see, watch, etc. So after these verbs, you are going to use bare infinitive only, right? So here is the example. Let us go on a picnic. So here I am using let. That is why it is followed by bare infinitive over here, right? One more example. Did you hear the sound of Tibetan singing bowls? So here also after did I am using first form of the verb, and this is my bare infinitive only, right? So I hope you are able to understand this point as well. So let's proceed further and further. We use bare infinitives after had better, would rather, sooner than, and rather than. So after these particular expressions as well, we use bare infinitive only, right? So here are the examples. We had better travel by car. So since I am using had better, and after that what I am using? I am using bare infinitive, first form of the verb travel, right? Likewise, next example, you would rather park your car at parking. So would rather, it is followed by bare infinitive park over here, right? So I hope that this situation is also clear to you. So let's proceed further. Now next thing, we use bare infinitive after then and but. Now there must be some specific meaning of but as well. When but means except, right? So let's understand this point with the help of examples given over here. So here's the first one. He did nothing but cook the entire day. So except cooking, he did nothing. This is what I want to say. That is why after but what I am using? I am using first form of the verb, and it is example of bare infinitive only, right? Likewise, next example, the player did more exercise than practice. So here after then as well I am using this first form of the verb, and it is again example of bare infinitive, right? So I hope you are able to understand all the required situation where we are using first form of the verb and it is functioning as a bare infinitive indeed, right? Okay, next we are going to discuss about split infinitive, right? When an adverb is put between to and the verb, right? In full infinitive, what structure we have seen? To plus verb, right? Now we are talking about split infinitive. So what change you are going to see? To, adverb, and then first form of the verb, right? The infinitive is split in two parts. So this adverb is actually going to split full infinitive in two parts, right? And referred to as a split infinitive, right? So what structure you are going to see over there? You are going to see to, adverb, and first form of the verb, right? So let's discuss some examples over here. So here's the first example. I request you to kindly follow the instruction before attempting the question paper. So pay attention over here. To, right? Here we have first form of the verb, and in between them what we are going to see? Kindly, which is what? It is an adverb, right? We are talking about manner, kindly, right? That is why this is example of what? This is example of split infinitive. Though such structure we use in informal English and spoken English more frequently, right? Okay, one more example. I request you to finely chop the vegetables before boiling them. Same thing, we have to pay attention at to first form of the verb, and in between them what we are able to see? We are able to see an adverb. So this is the example of split infinitive. So I hope that the concept of infinitives is clear to you, and here we have one sentence. So let's examine it. Cycling is a good exercise that strengthens muscles. So what we are talking about? Cycling. Again, what we have got? Verb in ing form. But what function is this word doing over here? Is it a verb literally? No, it is not a verb. Is it a participle here? No, even it is not a participle, because none of the function it is performing. It is not used as a progressive form, right? In progressive form, we use it after the helping verb. It is not used as an adjective over here because it is not modifying any noun over here. It is not used as an adverb over here because it is not modifying any verb over here, and even it is not forming a clause. Then what function is this word doing over here? Actually, this word is a gerund and it is functioning as a noun in the sentence. About what we are talking about? We are talking about cycling. So this activity named as cycling, right? And whenever we give name to something, that is noun only, isn't it? Okay, so let's discuss about gerunds. So here is the first thing. Gerunds are those verbs that take ing form. So here you are going to find word again in ing form, just like present participle. Still they are different from present participle. How so? Gerund have the same form as the present participle, since they also have that ing form, but they act as a noun. So this is the difference. Present participle function as the progressive verb in the continuous tense. They function as an adjective, adverb or formation of clause. But gerund is going to function only and only as a noun in a sentence, right? Rather than a verb or a modifier. So it is not going to work as a verb or as an adjective. For that only we have used this word modifier over here. Right? Next thing, since gerunds behave more like nouns, such nouns are also called verbal nouns. Gerund is also named as verbal nouns. Right? So I hope you remember that whenever we want to get answer that whether this word is noun or not, we ask a question with what. So whenever we ask a question with what as an answer, what we are going to get? We are going to get noun, noun phrase or noun clause. So here you have to apply the same trick. Right? So before we proceed, we are going to discuss some examples over here. So here's the first example. Swimming is not only a sport but also a wonderful exercise. So pay attention over here. Swimming, verb in its ing form, but we have to check its function. Right? It is working as a noun, and as I have told you, in order to identify a noun, what we have to do? We have to ask a question with what. So if I ask a question that what is a wonderful exercise, how you are going to reply me? Swimming. So it is the name of an activity. That is why it is a noun. And you must know this thing, that a noun may function as a subject in a sentence, or it may function as a complement or object in a sentence as well, right? Since noun has similar function. So here this particular word swimming is working as the subject because we are talking about this activity only in the sentence, right? Okay, let's proceed towards the next example, and here we have next example. The most undesirable practice among school children is nagging. Right? Nagging. What? In its ing form, right? But it is functioning as a noun because it is name of an activity over here. And to assure this thing whether it is a gerund or not, what we have to do? We have to ask a question with what. So, what is the most undesirable practice among school children? And as an answer, what we are going to get? We are going to get nagging. And as I have told you that a gerund may function as a subject in a sentence, as a complement or object in the sentence. So, in this particular sentence, it is functioning as a complement over here, right? So I hope even this example is clear to you. So let's proceed further, and here we have next example. She dislikes cheating in examinations. So cheating, again, word in its ing form. She dislikes what? She dislikes cheating in examinations. So again, this is example of a gerund as well, right? So I hope concept of gerund is clear to you, but there are certain verbs which are always followed by gerund, and we are going to study about them, right? So here, certain verbs always follow gerund form of the verb as acknowledge, admit, appreciate, deny, imagine, mean, suggest, understand. So after that, if you are going to see word in ing form, they are going to be gerund, right? So you have to remember this concept. So here's the first example. I can't imagine living in this big house. So here, imagine, this is one of the word in the list, and after that, living is written over here. So this living is what? It is a gerund, right? Next one, I understand fishing very well. So understand, again a word from the same list, and fishing is what? Fishing is a gerund here. Again, ask a question with what? Right? What did I understand well? Fishing. So it is definitely a gerund. So these kind of word you have to learn, that after these particular word you are always going to find a gerund only, right? So I hope concept of non-finite verb is clear to you. So this is all from my side. Thank you, students.